Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm going to show you how to make this adorable holiday card that uses the Santa Corner embellishment file available for download on the Brother website. I've already pre-cut all of my materials to match the sizes that are listed in the instruction file, also available for download. And I'm going to arrange them on my cutting mat based on the arrangement of the file. Again, you can see this in the instructions, or you can just look in the file to see how the pieces are arranged. I'm using dark red for Santa's hat, light red for his nose, black for his eyes, silver for the star, white for the background, and then peach for his face. So we want to make sure that we have these laid out just like they are in the file, and press down pretty firmly on our cutting mat. Now they're on the mat, I'm ready to work with the scan and cut. So we'll load the mat. And I've already set my blade and my speed. I just need to pull in the pattern file. I've got a USB media stick on the side of the machine. So I can go over here to save data, my USB. There's my pattern. And it all looks the same as how I have it arranged here on the sheet. So we're ready to go. So now that it's all cut, we can remove the mat and take the pieces off the mat. So the first thing I want to do is handle the swirls that are cut out from Santa's beard. Now, you could just put a piece of colored paper behind that, pattern paper. You could even put a piece of aluminum foil. But one of my favorite techniques I like to call the packing tape trick. So I'm going to take a piece of packing tape and put it on the back side, right over the swirls. So now on the front, we have exposed adhesive where all the swirls are. So I can take a piece of scratch paper, fold it in half to make a little valley there. Put my piece inside it, and then add some glitter. I mean, it wouldn't be a holiday card without glitter, right? And use your finger to really press that glitter into the packing tape. And you can even use a brush to get any last little bits of glitter off the card and back into that trough. Now we can use this paper to reclaim all that extra glitter. So now we have a beard with glitter in it. Perfect for the holiday card. Next thing we're going to do is add some texture. So to do that, I'm going to use some embossing folders. I've got one here that has swirls, and I think that's perfect because it'll tie in with the swirl pattern that's in the beard. I'm going to do both the beard and the mustache. And then I have one that has a little zigzag pattern. I think this looks great as stitching. So we're going to use that right across the center of the brim of the hat. Now, if you don't want to use dry embossing, you could just use a pen and add some stitch marks. So I'm going to make my sandwich, put it inside my plates, and run it through the embossing machine. Look at that. Great texture on the hat trim, the mustache, and the beard. Now it's important to do the dry embossing after you do the tape technique. Because if we tried to put the tape on now, there's all these little debossed areas. Just think of them as lumpy bumpies. It would be hard for the tape to stick there. So we want to do that first. Now we're ready to do some assembly. First thing we can do is attach the face. Now, we could use a liquid adhesive, but because we have the packing tape here, it's not going to adhere very well, so I prefer to use a dry adhesive. So I'm going to put a piece of dry adhesive tape, the backing sheet, there we go. And we can attach the face, and I'm going to do that, lining it up with the top of the swirls on the left and the right sides. So there we have the beard with the face. Now I'm going to put the hat on as well. And again, I like a piece of dry tape for that. Right across the top. Peel off the cover. And we can attach the hat. Don't worry if there's any extra adhesive sticking out there, because it's going to end up attaching to the hat or the back of the car. So there's a start. We can do the mustache next. I'm going to work from the back side of the mustache, so flip it over, and I need to attach his nose right there to the back. It's a pretty tiny area, so I think a little bit of liquid adhesive would be best here. It doesn't take much. And we'll put the nose right on the back side. Look at that. We're making great progress. Let's rouge his cheeks. So to do that, I have some dry chalk. Now, chalks usually come with a little applicator tool. It's really just a tiny bit of cotton. So it's hard to get out of the packaging. It's on the end of the applicator. I'm going to touch it into the pink. And don't take this right to your card, because you may have too much pink on there. See, that's a lot. So I'm going to work on a piece of scrap paper till I get a shade I like. Remember, you can always go darker, but you can't go lighter. So now it's really starting to look like a face. We're going to want to attach the mustache, and I like to give that a little bit of dimension. So what I'm going to do is put a very tiny piece of dry adhesive just in the center of the mustache. And then I'm going to use a foam dot or a pop dot on the ends of the mustache. And it should fit right about there. And now when we apply the mustache, press firmly over the nose part so it's nice and flat, and then on the end you've got that little bit of curl there. I think that adds a lot of dimension. We could put the eyes on now too. Now remember, these eyes are very, very tiny. And if you don't want to work with pieces this small, just draw them in with a marker. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of liquid adhesive on a piece of deli paper. I always have deli paper in my studio. I use it for so many things, and in this case I'm just using it as a little place to work. I'm going to put a dot of liquid adhesive where I want each eye. I feel more comfortable putting it on the deli sheet and then using a toothpick. I'm always afraid if I try to dispense it directly on the card, I'm going to squirt out too much and then it's going to be a mess and I'm not going to be happy. So look, we're coming right along. Next thing I'm going to do is add the brim of his hat. And I'm going to use pop dots or 3D foam squares for that as well. They fit really nicely on either ends, but it's kind of too big for the middle. Well, remember, that's no problem. You can always trim your pop dots. Don't throw that other piece away. I'm a craft hoarder. I save every little piece. Put that on. And there's the little brim of his hat. And we can do the same with the star for the top of his hat. And in fact, it looks like that little piece that I saved is going to fit perfect. So there we have it, our Santa corner embellishment. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it on a card, but before I do that, just look how cool it even looks on a gift bag. So you can use it on a gift bag, you could enlarge it, and even put it on a large box. But let's go ahead and assemble our card as the last step here. I've got an A2 sized card here. Remember, an A2 card is really the size as 1/4 of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I've cut some background paper to fit that as well. Again, I like using a dry adhesive when I put my backgrounds on, because I'm afraid if I use a liquid adhesive, I might get some lumpy bumpies. Really, you just need to go perhaps around all the edges and then maybe one diagonal piece. That's probably enough. And now I'm going to add that to the front of my card. Now, if you have any white showing, in this case, my card wasn't cut perfect, you can just trim that. I'd use a paper trimmer to get it just right. And now we're ready to add our embellishment. Again, I'm going to use adhesive tape for that. So we'll attach Santa to the corner of the card. And there we go. How about replacing the paper we used for the hat with a piece of felt that you cut on the Scan and Cut? You could even use a piece of synthetic fur for the band. Now, you're not going to be able to cut the synthetic fur on the Scan and Cut. You'd still cut out this piece of paper, use it as a template to draw that shape on the back of the fur, and then adhere it. You can also do a lot with marker work. This is a sample my friend Tanya made, and of course she did an enormous amount to the eyes. She chose to replace my tiny eyes with larger eyes that are really teardrop shaped. She cut them in black and blue and then layered them. She used a white gel pen to make the centers of the eyes, and then an ultra-fine black marker to make the eyelashes. That really looks spectacular. So here you have it, our holiday card using the Santa corner embellishment file, available for download on the Brother website. Enjoy and happy holidays!